them right where we want them. That's how we start a road game, baby.
Down 1-0.
Yeah, exactly. We want to be down 1 going in that first intermission, and then we'll come out in second period, take control of the game, and get a win. That's what we do on the road, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the ways we play the game.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get any given night anymore.
Yeah, when we get into Allvin's comments, you'll see his comments on just that fact. But
exactly.
Did we see any ups?
I mean, we had a couple of really good chances. Almost had a 2-on-1 chance there with Besser and Miller, but what a rush back by Coronado there to break that up. Got to give props to the kid there for getting back. Bluger so close to beating Wolf there under the blocker, but a nice save by Wolf on that one. So we did have our looks. Obviously, a little bit of a defensive brain fart there led to the breakaway and rebound goal against. We're getting out hit right now, so I'd like to see us be a little more physical, but the game is kind of even that way. It's getting a little chippy out there. There is emotion in the game, so that one mistake we probably could have done without, but we've played from behind all season, so hopefully we can just battle back here early.
We're down, we can't blow leads. So that's maybe the mantra that the Canucks have going so far this game. I guess the other up I'd give is JT Miller did have that really good chance. I mean, another big save by Wolf. It wasn't a hard shot, but through the battle with Rasmus Andersson, he still managed to get the puck on net, and Wolf just managed to get his toe right on it. Otherwise, that could have easily been a goal for the Canucks.
Yep. Yeah, definitely got to keep pushing and getting those chances. Something we'll find the back of the net. We're very close to breaking through for a goal here, so we just got to keep fighting and hopefully get one early in the second to even things up.
Any clear downs?
Obviously that moment where that breakaway pass was given up. Just a bit of I don't know if it was a bad change or what happened there, but obviously you need to know that guy's in behind the defense, and you don't want to be when you collapse back, you got to slow down and take away the rebound. If your goalie's going to make the save on the breakaway, you want to help bail him out there, cleaning up the garbage, and we didn't do that. So a couple of moments on that same play where we could probably have back, but other than that, I wouldn't give any major downs. Lankinen mishandled the puck a couple of times, which could have been a little costly, but he settled in fine and did what he's been doing all season, making some nice saves. And yeah, as long as we keep doing what we're doing, this is a pretty even road game so far. Nothing too egregious out there, so hopefully we can maybe get a power play or something early in the second to help us get back in this.
Do you almost feel like Juulsen's had a bit of a regression, because in the last few games it's kind of been the same error that he was making earlier in the year and in the playoffs last year, is that over aggressiveness. So for example, on the breakaway goal, there was no reason for anyone to be able to get that rebound. Juulsen throws on the break, stands in front of the net. Instead, he ends up behind the net on the wrong wing.
Yeah, and I think it's that product where I talked about guys coming in and they can't try and do too much. They just need to play their game. And when Juulsen just plays his strengths and lets players come to him, and he stands them up with his hits and he reacts to the game instead of trying to force things that he's not usually doing, that's when he struggles. And I think the last 2 games we've seen that from him, and potentially maybe if it continues, maybe we see someone coming up from the baby Canucks here to reinforce that blue line, because obviously we heard the news that Hughes is going to be out for a couple weeks at least. So we'll see what happens, but obviously Juulsen needs to be better. He did cost us a couple goals last game as well, so hopefully he can settle it down, and they can have some review of the video and what he's doing when he's being too aggressive, and get him to play to his strengths again.
The World Junior Hockey Championship still going on. A couple of prospects have played a couple games since the last time we talked. We do have Sawyer Mignot currently playing. I think Canada's down 1-0. Nothing to really report on him, but he did get the assist in his first game in the lineup, which was a big one because it was actually the insurance goal to make it 2-0. Did you hear any good words about him in his debut in the tournament?
Just that he was good to come in and take over the role that he was asked to do. Chipping in that assist is always great when you're coming into the lineup as an injury replacement, especially when your team has just come off a couple of a struggle, um, and losing to Latvia. Obviously was tough on the team. So to come back and get that win against Germany was huge. And obviously good for Sawyer for contributing in that way. Um, we'll see what the rest of tonight's game brings, but it looks right now like Augustine is kind of standing on his head and keeping the Americans ahead in that one.
Yeah. And then Tom Willander, one that a lot of people have heard, had a massive game, 2 goals and an assist, 3 points overall. Actually, his lowest minutes played in the entire tournament, a 7-5 win over the Swiss, Sweden,
Hmm.
and then also winning again against the Czechs earlier today, 4-2. No points for Willander, but ended up playing over 25 minutes in that game. Absolutely a massive part of that Swedish defense. All good things from Willander so far this tournament, I'm guessing.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't knock what's going on. He's doing everything that his strengths are documented as. Having 2 goals and 3 assists now for 5 points over the tournament. Feels like he's on the ice all game, most games. Um, there is, however, the obvious thing where you take the World Junior performances um, with a bit of cautious optimism. You know, it is a small tournament, and guys tend to elevate their game with adrenaline and things like that. But he's basically been having this season all year. So to come out to this big stage and continue that and just be able to be a dominant defensive force, all signs point to a strong right side partner for Hughes in the near future.
I mean, I guess the only thing to really report on our Swiss defenseman, Mr. Sansones, Basil Sansones, he's still only a -2 considering his team's only gone 1-3. They just got the win today against Kazakhstan today. So, a serviceable guy who may end up getting some minutes in the AHL, but not bad for a guy who's been on a team that's been essentially blown out every game so far to only be a -2.
Yeah, exactly. You got to take a little bit of positive with that, and we mentioned it last game that it's always an honor to play for your country, no matter the stage. So, obviously, a good feather in the cap for him, and hopefully he can build with some experience from this tournament.
Quick, give us an update on the Abbey Canucks because they just played last night in Calgary. Part of the second part of the Stampede in the Saddle Dome with the Warriors winning 14-10. How did the Abbey Canucks fare in part 2 of the Stampede on the Saddle Dome?
Unfortunately, they suffered a 4-3 loss at the hands of the Wranglers. Shilov struggled with his regular issues that we've talked about, tracking the puck through traffic and a bit of the bouncing puck on rebounds in front of him. He had 2 goals that probably beat him through traffic that likely he should have had. They weren't tipped or anything like that. Relatively clean looks, and then one he made a poke check and overcommitted to the poke check, which put him out of position for a rebound off to the side. So just the typical issues that Seelovs has carried so far this season. Um, Obviously, he's only played a couple games since getting down there with Tolapilo's strong play behind him. So we will see we'll see who plays on January 1st tomorrow when they play against the Wranglers for the second half of that series. Um, Calgary pretty much controlled this game right out of the gate. They took a 2-0 lead into the second period when Jonathan Lekarmaki made it 2-1, burying his 12th goal of the season on the power play with a beautiful short side shot. Um, Absolute laser under the bar. And then early or late in the third, I guess, with 5 minutes left, Nate Smith would tie it at 2-2, tipping in a Jet Wu point shot. But unfortunately, Calgary would capitalize on a sloppy change with 3 minutes left, um, walking in and beating Sheelovs with a snapshot glove side. Uh, Probably one Shelows would like to have back. And then Calgary also added an empty netter to make it 4-2. Abbotsford did try to battle back. They were able to get a goal with 10 seconds left. Linus Carlson added one in the last minute there, but that's as close as they would get, falling 4-3, and look to redeem themselves tomorrow afternoon with a 1 o'clock New Year's Day game.
1 o'clock on New Year's Day. You gotta love those AHL start times.
Absolutely.
And that one's in Calgary as well.
Yes.
Well, let's get to the thing that everybody wants us to talk about is the Allvin comments. So everyone who didn't know, Allvin joined Sportsnet. It wasn't a video interview. It was just a written interview. So it must have been done over the phone or something like that. But what we're going to do is I'm going to read some of Allvin's comments out, and then we're going to get Dustin to react to them. So the first one, it's actually two different questions. One was, what was 2024 a good year for the Canucks? And so was the glass half full, half empty. And then I'll combine the answers because they kind of relate to each other. He says, I think that the hardest thing in this league is to find consistency and push players to get better. And the value of 2 points is more than individual points. Why is that we can't find a stretch of consistency? You're losing points here, which we all know is going to be hard to make up in the second half. So I'm going to guess that the glass is half empty.
Yeah. It's never what you want to hear from your GM going into the new year halfway through the season. However, I think some of that has to fall on Allvin's shoulders, given that the blue line that he has constructed through free agency and trades is what it is. We see now how valuable Hughes and Hronik really are to this lineup. And with both of them out, we don't really have a lot to pull from to bolster the blue line or to step up and fill those roles, especially with younger guys, because they're all a little far off from stepping in to fill shoes like Quinn Hughes. So yeah, I mean, I agree with them in the sense that it is half empty. Not being able to find a way to win in overtime, especially after last year when we would get a lead and build on it instead of just sitting back and giving up and feeling like that we're on our heels, and that anytime we have a lead that it's not safe.
Sportsnet asked, you have an out with contract on Pedersen's. Trade protection doesn't start until next season, but is moving your 26-year-old star actually a possibility? And then Allvin said, smiling, well, Jim's history, PD has shown up to this point that he is an extremely talented quality player that could be a number one center. I believe in him. I believe that he's capable, but he needs to mature and understand that there's a different expectation and that it doesn't get easier. And you need to face the music when things don't go well. Is a trade possible? I guess I would say anything is possible.
Similar criticisms to Pedersen last year.
Mm-hmm.
Allvin did kind of call him out publicly when he mentioned that this team doesn't have any superstars. I don't know if you remember that interview,
Mm-hmm.
but he did say that publicly. And shortly after that, Elias took that personally and went on an absolute tear to show that he is capable of being a superstar. Unfortunately, I think something that has happened here with Elias and also with the team is a bit of his injury has been mishandled. Last year, Talkett did try to downplay it by saying it's a tendonitis issue.
Right.
Excuse me. Whereas PD, treated it like an actual injury. Who knows if maybe he was using it as an excuse for his poor play or if it actually was hindering his performance. For me, I feel like maybe he was nursing that injury still going into this season. And that that was part of him holding back. He wasn't as physical as the start of last season.
Mm-hmm.
And so that might be part of the maturing process, growing up through it, realizing that the NHL doesn't get easier. Fighting a dang cold here, so good time to get a coughing fit. But yeah, like honestly, a 26-year-old is not someone you want to move. You don't want to give up on him yet. Um, but then again, he does have the no movement, or he doesn't have a no trade clause, whereas the other players that you would want to move do.
So there's another question here. Is it difficult as a GM to be patient and wait for the right trade when the team is scuffling? And then Allvin said, from a GM perspective, look at how hardly any trades, even lateral trades, it's just so hard. So it's more like, how do you fix the players that we have? Do I want to see if I could shake things up and send a message to the players? Sometimes that's what is needed.
And I think when you look at things that have been done, like the benching of Miller and certain things, those are the types of scuffling I think he's referring to, or like shuffling things up, makes sending a message.
Mm,
Um, Obviously, we need to make a trade to fix the blue line.
hmm
Um, he knows that. We all know that. But it's not easy given the way the CBA is structured. Um, there's a lot of give and take when it comes to trades nowadays. The prices are usually really high. You have to give up a lot to get rentals, and short term gain for usually leads to a long term loss.
hmm
Um, we're starting to see that effect now with teams like Chicago and Boston starting to fall off, and teams that went for broke and sacrificed their futures for cup wins now don't exactly have a lot in the cupboard and are in serious rebuild mode. So yeah, as much as you want to be able to make a quick trade, you also can't sacrifice everything that you've built with the core here now. So it's a delicate balance, and I'm sure they're looking into every avenue to fill the issues that we've had so far this year.
The first time we've seen in a long time, the Canucks were out hit this period. They were out hit by Calgary 11. Oh, no, no, they've eaten it up now. So it's 11-11. But still, obviously, um, what do the Canucks need to do differently to turn things around in this next period?
I think they need to get more physical. They need to win for more puck battles down low. Um, Tighten up defensively, making sure we're keeping the guys out in the middle, no odd man rushes. Um, and realistically, they didn't have the worst period in the world. So if they can keep pushing and getting a couple of those odd man rushes our way, then I'm sure we have a couple of guys out there that are dying to bury one. So I will look to even it up early in the second here, and go from there.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks for stopping by. You won't be by for the post game show because you got the celebrations happening with the kid. So thanks for
Yep.
stopping by for the intermission here, and happy New Year's, brother. Thanks for everything you've done so far for the Nothing is
Hey,
Perfect show.
thank you for having me, and I appreciate you having me on, and I love to support and keep things going and growing this show and growing the community. So happy New Year to chat. Happy New Year to you and your family and everything. And we will talk to you tomorrow night.
Nothing is perfect.